Hi, second graders. Miss Shannon back again with our genre of the week. This week, we will be learning about fiction stories. So, what makes a story fiction? Fiction has made up characters and events. Some of your favorite animated characters are fiction characters, they're made up. Or maybe your favorite book series is Magic Tree House. Magic Tree House, they are fiction stories. They have made up characters. Jack and Annie, although they are kids that are about your age, the author has made them up. So this is a key part to it being a fiction story. Fiction stories also have a beginning, a middle, and an end, much like the personal narrative stories you all wrote. So in the beginning of the story tells how the story starts, tells about the characters and the setting. In the middle of the story, it usually tells the problem and the details of the story. And in the end, we learn usually about how the problem is solved and how the story ends. Our last bullet there, I think my camera is in the way, but it says, fiction stories begin with a problem and end with a solution to the problem. So much like we saw on the previous slide. For this activity, you will need your Turn practice book, page 217. So go ahead and find your book and turn to that page now. You can press pause if you need to go find it. And here is our story. It is titled Sharing the Class Pet. I'm going to read the story out loud to you, and then we will work together to answer some of the questions. So follow along as I read aloud. Marta's class has a pet rabbit. On Friday, everyone wants to take the rabbit home. Mrs. Jones writes the children's names on papers and mixes them up. She will pick a name to see who takes the rabbit home today. Okay. So question number 1 asks, how do you know that this text is fiction? How do we know that this story is fiction? Well, let's go back and look at our slide that tells us what is a fiction story. It has made up characters and events. It has a beginning, middle, and end. And it has a problem and a solution. Our story was pretty short, but we learned about Marta and her classroom pet. I don't know Marta, and I think that this character was maybe made up by the author. So Marta is not necessarily a real person. She is made up. That is one way we know that this is a fiction story. It has made up characters. So how do you know that this text is fiction? This text is fiction because it has made up characters. If you want to add on to your answer for number 1 or put it in your own words, you can definitely do that. All right, so pause if you need to and press play when you're ready to move on. Okay, number 2 asks, what is the problem in this story? What was the problem the characters faced? Let's look back at the story. Well, she says that they have a class pet, and on Friday, everyone wants to take the rabbit home. Do you think everyone in class would be able to take the rabbit home on the same weekend? No, probably only one person at a time can take the pet home. So that sounds like a problem to me. Everyone wants to take the rabbit home. So there we have underlined our problem or found the text evidence that told us what the problem was in the story. So we can say the problem is that every student wants to take the rabbit home. That is the problem that we were told about in the text. Okay, so again, press pause if you need to, and then press play again when you are ready. Okay, now it's your turn, second graders. I told you what the problem was, that all the kids in class wanted to take the rabbit home. But what is the solution? We learned something that Miss Jones does to help solve the problem. So go back and reread to figure out what does Mrs. Jones do to help solve the problem. When you find that, that is your solution. You can write it on the lines for number 3. And when you are ready, take a picture of page 217, upload it into the green box. If your camera is not working, you may type in your answers for 1, 2, and 3 on the very last slide and click submit. Good work today, second graders. See you soon.